the SEC. It's the same old song and dance. The SEC this, the SEC that. Who gives a damn about the depth? I don't give a damn about the 10th place team in the SEC. I don't give a damn about the 10th place team in the Big Ten. Really, who are those teams that can beat you if you're really good? Of course it's helped the northern schools, because the northern schools haven't been cheating for hundreds of years like you SEC people. All right, let's get into it. The SEC, it's the same old song and dance. The SEC this, the SEC that. You know where my head is. My head's on the beloved Indiana Hoosiers, who walked right into whatever that stadium is in Oregon. Nobody ever knew until Phil Knight started giving a bunch of money. But they walked right into that stadium in Oregon and whooped that ass. Yes, they did. The bias, it just means more, is never ending. There's some bad teams in there. How many non-SEC teams have to win big, go undefeated, and still get shoved aside so that Alabama, Georgia, LSU, et al. Can sneak into a spot with a loss or two or maybe three? The hand waving, the eyebrow raising, but their strength of schedule is tougher. It's all designed to prop up an SEC narrative, and I'm frankly tired of it. I watch these teams play. You tell me LSU's really good? I watched Florida the other day. You're telling me they're really good, and the reason I use them is because those two teams are supposed to be really good year in, year out. Mississippi State, other than when Dan Mullen was there, no good. Mississippi's okay. Like, I think Alabama's back, but they're not back to Nick Saban, and everybody's going to jump up and down, stand on their head and shit snowballs over Ty Simpson. The hell's a Ty Simpson? He's not a tenth of the quarterback Fernando Mendoza is at Indiana. We want to prop up. That's what we do, and I'm tired of it. We want to prop up the SEC narrative. I just spent the weekend in Georgia, and Saturday night, my buddies' came over. Bunch of dudes, bunch of women, some Florida, some Georgia fan, couple LSU, and I sat there and I watched, and finally I said, I got to tell you, your teams just aren't that good. I mean, let's look at the quarterbacks. Who are they? They're just not that good. But we all have to go, well, we've all got to acquiesce. The Big Ten, the Big 12, knocking off ranked opponents and then treated like afterthoughts, outsiders. Indiana, this was funny to me. Indiana goes and beats Oregon, right? And I hear all the morons say, well, now we can take them seriously. Well, what do you kids say? Tell me you've never coached without telling me you've never coached. If you couldn't watch Indiana play and know they were good before they went to Oregon, you're an idiot. They had the 9th-ranked team in the country down like 63-10. But all of a sudden, because they beat Oregon, a team that the morons that never played, never coached, deemed to be good, now all of a sudden, we can take you seriously? No, maybe we can take Indiana seriously, but we can't take you idiots seriously. Nicole Arbaugh, well, we can take Indiana seriously. Oh, shut up. Shut up. I saw so many dudes, now we can take them seriously. Oh, really? What, we background noise? Is that what we are? Is that what we are? You know, if you challenge the SEC nonsense, you're a hater. You're a biased fan. Everybody's a biased fan. I'm a biased fan. I'm a bias towards two things: the school I went to and winning. If the school I went to is not winning, I don't care about them. I went to Indiana. They're winning. I care about them. Look, as my dad said when I was coaching, you know we're for you, win or tie, baby. Like, no kidding. No kidding. Well, I get it. But this is crapola. All right. Nick Saban is doing his typical routine on the ESPN airwaves, saying that the Big Ten can't compete with the depth of the SEC. Yeah, who cares? Who gives a shit about the depth? You hat-wearing Miss Terry. Shut up. I've had enough of Nick Saban. I don't like his commercials. I don't. I won't go to that Airbnb place simply because of his commercials, and I'm not sure why. My brother and I are the same thing. Now, screw Nick Saban. Here's Nick Saban. Who gives a damn about the depth? I don't give a damn about the 10th place team in the SEC. I don't give a damn about the 10th place team in the Big Ten. What do I care about them for? How good are your good teams, the one we're going to be watching in the playoffs? That's what I care about. Shut up, Nick Saban. Here we go. Saban.
think the emphasis for Ryan Day has got to be focus on improvement and consistency in performance so we don't have ups and downs during this season. And I don't think the Big Ten is really that deep. I think Illinois does have a pretty decent team, but it's not like the SEC where you got 8 or 9 teams that can beat you. There might be 3 or 4 teams in the Big Ten that can beat you.
Really? Really? Who are those teams that can beat you if you're really good? Like, you going to tell me Vanderbilt? Vanderbilt, if that's the team, you going to tell me, well, Mississippi State's pretty good this year. Shut up. Just shut up with that. All leagues got good teams. Now, do I think the bottom of the Big Ten sucks? Yeah, I do. But I think the top of the Big Ten's pretty damn good. You got number 1 and number 3. That's pretty damn good. I'll just stop with that. You guys beat up each other. Then all of a sudden you take a break and play the Citadel, and you tell each other how good you are and how the playoffs rigged. Saban further says, guess what? He's claiming the NIL rules are hurting the SEC more than other conferences. Yeah, because y'all been cheating forever. Hey, I read the price. I read about all them fat dudes that you acted like you didn't know anything about. Read the price, Armin Contayan's book. All the fat-ass guys that get together in a room and they want Alabama to win. They want Alabama to win. We want Alabama to win, so, hey, let's make sure that Jimmy Joe Buttjob over there in Memphis gets his money and we get him over here to Alabama and LSU. And Joe, yeah, you guys were cheating when it was cheating. Now everybody's playing by the same rules and y'all suck. I'll tell you one thing that's starting to piss me off. Yeah, I'm on one. Starting to piss me off as I was driving from Georgia yesterday, hearing some clowns on Sirius XM 84 talking about Indiana doesn't have the resources. Are you insane? Got 2 billionaires, Wagner and Cuban, backing the whole program. Are you out of your freaking mind? No, the level of stupid is off the charts here, and I'm not having it. I'm not. Of course it's helped the northern schools because the northern schools haven't been cheating for hundreds of years like you SEC people. They haven't had big, fat, cigar-smoking car dealers sitting in a back room eating a sausage, playing with themselves in one hand and paying somebody in the other hand. Stop it. Here's Nick Saban. Alabama Crimson Tide head coach Nick Saban got out of coaching not long after the NCAA changed its policy to allow players to profit off their name, image, and likeness. Now Saban is admitting that he thinks those changes put Alabama and the SEC at a bit of a disadvantage. They ain't put anybody at a disadvantage. No, they just leveled the playing field from you cheating pricks. Everybody knew that. Just stop it. Here's Saban, 7-time national champion. You ever notice when things are equal, Saban runs or he gets, fired? The NFL is built to be equal. He was horse shit. Now, all of a sudden, NCAA college football is equal. And where is he? Wearing his stupid hat on ESPN. I do think the culture of college football right now with name, image, and likeness and paying players money has actually maybe hurt the SEC a little bit and helped the schools up north. Right. Go ahead and say it, Nick. All right. Here, say it, Nick. Say it. Because if you're making your decision about money and someone is going to pay you more to go to Ohio State or Michigan or wherever it is, I'm not complaining about that. That's the way it is, and these kids are going to be more than willing to move. Say it, Nick. Let me say it for you. We were ahead of our time in the SEC because every year there was a freaking cheating scandal involving paying players money. Say it, Nick. And now that everybody's paying players money, the SEC is leveled off to where now guys like Saban might actually have to coach and not just roll it out there, yell and scream and act like an idiot on the sideline. Kids are not growing up wanting to go to Alabama, wanting to go to Georgia, wanting to go to Florida, wanting to go to Texas. They want to go to whoever's going to pay them the most money. Yeah, that's nonsense. Of course they still grow up wanting to do that, but as they get older, they realize, well, let me ask you something, Nick, you excuse-making buffoon, you. Why aren't you paying them more money? Why? I mean, everybody tells me it just means more. Why isn't every fat booster at the bingo parlor forking in 10% of the pot? I watch, what's going on in Tulsa. I watch Tulsa King and a bingo scam going on. Why aren't we doing that, Nick? Why is the Big Ten, where it doesn't mean as much, according to the clowns that run the SEC office, why doesn't The big fat cats where it just means more. Why don't that car dealership, big fat guy, Fat Tony or whatever? I don't know why I'm on fat people today, but I'm weighing like 1,000 pounds after this weekend, and I've just become a balloon, so I'm all in on it. Why aren't they going? Why aren't you paying more? It just means more, Nick. Hey, Dan, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that culture of college football has changed, and I think it has made the regional advantage that the Southeast Conference had for years no longer an advantage. No, you can say it. We were paying players before anybody. And now everybody, look at it historically. I think Sankey, when he was at Sankey or Slive, one of those two guys, had to have a come-to-Jesus meeting with the media and the coaches to say, look, every year we got somebody going down for cheating. NCAA, stop penalizing us. You've been cheating for years. Now cheating is legal. Now you're getting your ass kicked. Simple. Say it, Nick. Say it, St. Nick. You bastard of virtue, because old Miss Terry, she'd take their mothers out for breakfast in the morning before they left the recruit. Oh, shut up. Miss Terry probably had a bag full of cash. Get out of here with all that. Now everybody's got a bag full of cash, Nick, and you ran, just like you ran when it was even in the NFL. Sit there and try to come up. Nah, you fraud. Anyway, Prize Picks, that's right. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I love Prize Picks. I do. I'm not going to lie. I love it. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's really good to be right. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, Georgia. Prize Picks also offers injury reboots. One of your players leaves the game in the first half, doesn't return. Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. We won again for you. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use download code Dakich, D-A-K-I-C-H. Get 50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Dakich to get 50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Yeah, buddy of mine, we did it this weekend in Georgia. Got a bunch of guys to sign up because they don't have legalized gambling in Georgia, online. So now they can. It's great. It's not betting. It's just more or less. It's picking. It's fantasy. Do it. Oh, James Franklin got screwed. But I'm going to tell you, a lot of people think the great national nightmare of James Franklin is over. Not I. No. It's just beginning. You mark my words. James Franklin was fired as the head coach of Penn State. James Franklin went 13-3 last year, 8-1 in the Big Ten last year, play away from going to the national championship game. Who y'all getting there, Penn State? Who y'all getting there to replace my man? Now, here's what happened. Some fat-ass alumni and Pat Kraft, who is the AD there, I met him once. I'm like, okay, this guy thinks he knows more than anybody else in the room, and maybe he does. I mean, I guess he and Matt Rule won some games at Temple. And if you can win games at Temple, you're doing pretty good. But he wasn't the coach. Rule was. And Rule hadn't been worth a damn at Nebraska. But anyway, James Franklin fired Sunday, 24 hours after he lost at home to Northwestern 22-21. Well, they were preseason number 2. That loss, they gone from the college football playoffs. Terry Smith's going to be the interim head coach for the rest of the season for the Nittany Lions, who began the year with hopes of winning a national championship. Most people, if not all people around college football media, who have shown themselves to be completely and totally clueless, except for TREY Wallace, on the comings and goings of college football based on preseason polls. Well, those hopes have evaporated, and it's not even basketball kicking off season, which used to be October 15th. They keep losing. One loss more stinging than the other. Penn State reached the semifinals just 10 months ago. They lost to Oregon in overtime on September 4th. Lost to previously winless UCLA. Final straw Saturday, Beaver Stadium. The Nittany Lions let Northwestern escape with a victory and lost Drew Allard, the quarterback, for the rest of the season. There was hope this fall. It might be that Penn State would finally break through, yet after 3 easy wins during a light non-conference schedule, the Nittany Lions crumbled. Pat Kraft said the school owes Franklin, who is owed, by the way, nearly $50 million in a buyout, an enormous amount of gratitude for leading the Nittany Lions back to relevant, but felt it was time. No, he didn't. I'm going to tell you what happened here. A bunch of boosters came to Kraft and said, you got to get rid of this guy. And Kraft, who is a survivalist by nature, I assume, as most athletic directors are, probably had a rift with Franklin. Tell you what, met Kraft once, maybe twice. Once I remember I was talking to people. He very arrogantly walked away. So I don't have a great opinion of Pat Kraft. He's an Indiana guy. As an Indiana guy, I should like him. I think he played football there for a minute, maybe earned a scholarship as a walk-on, that kind of thing. But he appears to me to be the kind of guy that knows more and is the smartest guy in the room. And that's the way Franklin appeared to me as well. But Franklin always holds a dear spot in my heart for simply saying, I want coaches with good-looking wives because that means they can recruit. It's true. I know it offends half of you, but you'll be all right. Seriously, you'll get offended, then you'll be all right. But I guarantee you they clashed, and I guarantee you they clashed big. Now, everybody's going to deny it. Everybody's going to walk away. Franklin's got 50 million reasons to shut up and walk away. And Kraft needs a new head coach, and he certainly doesn't need it out there that he's clashing with head coaches that just went 8-1 in the Big Ten, 13-3 overall, and into the national semifinal a year ago. He doesn't need that. Now the question becomes, who are you going to get? Really? I always say don't F with winning. Don't F with winning. Are you going to call Urban Meyer? Urban likes Penn State. Give him a call. See if Miss Terry will go above the old Mason-Dixon line and coach that football in Pennsylvania. Remember, every chance he gets, Nick Saban wants to tell you how he's a West Virginia guy. Bull. He's a Southern freaking white bread dude that is more Southern white bread than he ever was West Virginia. Well, not ever was, but you get the point. Go see if he wants to coach up there. Remember, he's from West Virginia. Did he tell you that? I think he did. Call Pat McAfee. Hell, call anybody. I don't care. Gruden. But you have to with winning. Now, maybe, just maybe, somebody will go in there and win more. Doubtful. 104-45. I don't know. Maybe it's the greatest place ever. I've been to Penn State. I don't know. Truthfully, you want to know the truth? I don't know if I should even say this, but coming from the airport one night, right after all the Sandusky stuff, I kind of came by the stadium, and there was that big Penn State, whatever that thing is, in the middle of the darkness, and it was eerie. I always felt eerie at Penn State. I did. I'm sorry. Get mad at me. I mean, not every place is for everybody. But unless, which they will, shell out a ton of money, and unless, which they better, shell out a ton of money to players, you have to with winning. Now, I have a couple life sayings, sack up being one of them. Be careful what you wish for is the other. I'm fascinated. Go get Matt Rule because he's done such a dynamite job over there in Nebraska. Here's Penn. Here's James Franklin, 3-17, Michigan, Ohio State, 1-5 or 1-15 versus top 5 teams. First coach to lose consecutive games as a 20-point favorite. A lot of people said this. Curt Cignetti has won 2 games against top 5 teams. That's more than Franklin's won in 10 years. Curt Cignetti did it within the last month, or top 10 team, something like that. But anyway, here's the deal. Curt Cignetti's not going. See, again, I was listening to Sirius XM Channel 84, and these dudes had no idea what they were talking about. Here's what I would like. Now, you're going to hear from people, and hopefully not Trey. You're going to hear from people that Penn State has far more resources than Indiana does. Yeah, what? Yeah, what? Right now. I'm not talking about 20 years ago. Hell, in 1993, if you want to go way back, I was in a room, me, Coach Knight, and Joe Pa. And Joe Pa was bitching, whining, and moaning about having to come into the Big Ten. He said, none of our parents want to see us play Indiana or Illinois. They're not coming here. They want to see us play Pittsburgh. They want to see us play West Virginia, Boston College. Well, Joe Pa did too because they don't have to get that ass waxed. Anyway, no, I'm fascinated to see what happens here. Be careful what you wish for. And, of course, my other saying is no good deed goes unpunished. No good deed goes unpunished. You know it doesn't. Hell no, it doesn't. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. If I had to choose between the coach that won a bunch and some athletic director, I'd choose the coach 100 out of 100 times. But, hey, what do I know? Maybe Pat Kraft is a wizard. Sure he is. Hey, you enjoying the show? Of course you are. I'm the only place that gives it to you straight. I mean, I go through a firestorm about once a week because I give it to you straight. Make sure you head on over to youtube.com/@, don't at me, with Dan Dakich to like, comment, and subscribe. That way you will never miss any of our great content. There you go. It's right there. And I look much better in person is what I was told this weekend. Thank you. That's the head of an old coach. This is the head of a movie star. College football never disappoints. It doesn't. From a tortilla tantrum to the Hoosier dismantling of Oregon, it's another awesome weekend. And it was. I love sitting there in the middle of SEC country yelling and screaming about Indiana. I did. I said, look, I got to stay totally sober for this. I didn't even have beers anywhere. And then when Indiana won, we raised a glass. Yes, we did. I wanted to be in the moment. Too many of you guys go to parties, drink too much, and then don't remember the game that you watched. Not I. I got done, went over to our friend's house. Party was there. I'm like, We got there for the second half. I don't need to watch first halves. I'm too old for first halves. First halves don't matter. And next thing you know, baby, it was on. All right, starting at Texas Tech, my buddies, the Blinkos, they're Kansas grads. This didn't go well for them. They beat down Kansas 42-17. Tech head coach Joey McGuire and Lance Leopold, Kansas head coach, got into a heated post-game handshake after Leopold was not happy over the Texas Tech fan tradition of hurling tortillas onto the field. Here's the heated exchange between these two battle-tested generals over tortillas. Here it is.
Coach, I can't do anything about it. You want me to do something about it? I just heard. I know. And I said I got it.
Coach, you and Coach Leipold seem to have a heated exchange after the game. Can you share anything from that?
No, it's frustrating. I'm frustrated. I know he was frustrated. We've got a new rule in this league, and we know the rule, and we didn't follow it, and we got penalized tonight, to 15-yard penalties, and he was frustrated on that side. And we got to be better. We've got to do a better job. We got to find a way to do a better job as a whole, all of us, and we will. I mean, we've got 2 weeks to have a better plan and get the point across of what the rule is, because it's gonna catch up with us. I mean, the first one nearly did because the game was a little bit tighter than what you wanted, but it's going to catch up with us, and it's frustrating because it's kind of like whenever I talk to the guys, make it about the football, so if you get any kind of extracurricular penalties, like we had a 15-yarder late in the game, hey, you made it about you, and so if you're throwing tortillas more than once, now it becomes all about you. Like, what? Like, really, are you? Is that a Red Raider? Or is that like, if you came to the game and you love this team and you're passionate about this team, but yet you're going to throw another tortilla and it's against the rules? Like, so we've got to do a better job, and I've got to do a better job at expressing to the fans how important they are, because the atmosphere tonight was absolutely incredible, electric.
That was really good. I didn't expect that. I hadn't seen that clip. And that was really good by that coach. Now, good for him, man. You can tell why he's a really good coach, because he's not afraid. Now, Leopold, it's always hard when you get beat. It is. You want to bitch, whine, and moan, but you don't want to seem like a whiner. Leopold's been a very good coach. He's done really good things at Kansas. Here he is.
They were penalized a couple of times for objects on the field over this. How do you feel like that was handled?
Very poorly. Our conference office and Dale Scott Draper and them were very poor at handling it. They said one of the officials almost got hit and tried to throw a flag, and it got picked up, so that was disappointing. We have a policy put in that wasn't followed through, so I was very disappointed on how that was. It's obviously they have a great crowd. They really get into it and do some things, but I know the officials were just as frustrated after the one penalty was picked up by whatever they call the rock, wherever that is, where it sits. say what it is. I mean, a pocket knife was thrown out and hit one of our staff members. So, I mean, and I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's supposed to be for safety and things like that, and it's a culture that's been accepted to a point, and it hasn't changed, and eventually somebody's going to be seriously hurt, unfortunately.
When did that happen during the game?
In the third quarter.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go, man. He needs a higher chair, though. He does. I mean, he needs a little bit higher chair. But, hey, he's not wrong. I mean, you really can't do that. That's stupid. But having said that, it's one of the things that makes college football great. I didn't know they did that prior to the season kicking off. Big 12 teams voted 15-1 to ban the act during the offseason. Kirby Hocutt, Texas Tech athletic director, being the lone dissenting voice. Texas Tech tradition of throwing tortillas began more than 30 years ago, with the most popular origin story dating back to '92, when an ESPN announcer joked that Lubbock, Texas had nothing but Texas Tech football and a tortilla factory. Fans then began bringing tortillas to the game and throwing them on the field before kickoff. All right. I mean, my wife and I, we saw something on the internet. Tortillas can hurt you. We had a tortilla slap fight one day. She slapped the plate. It didn't go very long. She went first, slapped me with a tortilla. It hurt like hell because she put her fist in it. I think she did it on purpose. I'm like, all right, I'm not doing that. We saw it on the internet. We thought we'd try it. Anyway, and last but should be first, he who is last shall be first. It's biblical. The Indiana football Hoosiers went duck hunting. See what we did there in Eugene, Oregon, and put belt to ass. That's what they did. I mean, let's just be honest. They whooped the Ducks. That quarterback for that team over there, no good. This quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, the best in the country. The back shoulder fade to the best wide receiver, Starrett, I think is his name. I don't know players' names. I don't care. I just watched the game. But that wide receiver is really good. That back shoulder left side of the end zone fade was spectacular. It was an unbelievable answer. In fact, it's a Heisman moment. Now, all I know is this. Indiana is the best football team in the country. The state of Indiana is the best football state in America. That's what I know. Colts are 5-0, and Indiana just rose to number 2 in the country. And those of you morons out there that are going to tell me, well, the first call is going to be to SIG. Great. Florida tried last year. It didn't work out. Here's Coach Cignetti post-game on the team's preparation.
The most important thing to me was our mindset going into this game. That we believed, expected, prepared to make it happen, and could handle the ups and downs of the game without flinching, showing frustration and anxiety. And that was the only thing you don't know until you play the game. And we passed that test.
Yeah, he's right. You prepare like hell. I mean, you prepare and you prepare and you prepare. But on the road, frustration, massive, anxiety. And Indiana played flawless football. They didn't play the greatest game, but they played flawless in terms of doing what they were supposed to do. They were flawless. Now, they had some penalties, and, okay. But when you look at how that team performed on that stage on Saturday night, it was damn near flawless. No, I'll say it was flawless. Didn't play the perfect guy. I didn't say perfect. I said flawless. Without a major flaw, including anxiety, including being uptight, including frustration, which gets football teams. Man, when you talk to football coaches, and I have my entire lifetime, they talk about it. They talk about, being frustrated and doing something stupid. Indiana does not do that. Here's the quarterback. He should be the number 1 candidate for the Heisman, Fernando Mendoza. He's the Heisman Trophy guy. Here he is.
All right, Fernando, the first time you came here was your 4th career start. You were a quarterback at Cal. You now just led your team to beat the number 3 team in the country. When you reflect on that journey, is this what you dreamed of?
Yeah, first of all, I want to give all the glory to God. Thank you so much for my family for helping me get to this point. And I could have done without a fantastic offense. They never said it was going to be easy. We came in here, we handled adversity fantastically, and we rose to the moment. When the offense is on the field and we need a game-winning drive, we did it. When the defense needed a stop, we did it. Thank you so much for Hoosier Nation coming out. I'm so grateful for all my offensive linemen, receivers, running backs, tight ends. And what a great team we have here to struggle through adversity and come out on top, especially such a great team like Oregon.
There you go, man. That's the Heisman Trophy winner right there. Here's all Kurt Cignetti has done. He took over the worst program in the Big Ten. They won 3 games the previous 3 years total, including like a triple overtime against an Akron team that, well, frankly, the 4 of us could beat. So far, he's 17-2 at Indiana. 17-2, has not lost a home game. He lost only 2 games. Those 2 losses, one to last year's national champ, Ohio State, at Ohio State. The other to national runner-up, Notre Dame, at Notre Dame. It's the first ever Big Ten loss for Oregon. Coach Cignetti, I believe, this is from our guy, best coach in college football. I don't know about that, but tell me someone better. No, seriously, tell me somebody that's done a better job. And here's the deal. A lot of people are going to lose their job because of what Cignetti did. They want patience, bring in a new regime, see North Carolina. But where fans across the country see what's happening here at Indiana in only 2 years, should instant gratification be the thing in coaching? Now, the coach in me says no. Everybody takes over a different program at different stages. And in this world of NIL, people can, like Cignetti, bring players with him that are good enough and want to come with him. Cignetti is kind of the perfect storm. He brought players that were certainly good enough, and he brought a staff that loves him. Cignetti has set a culture at Indiana unlike any other. Coaches don't leave. They haven't left him in forever. Players want to come back, and the evaluating of talent is spectacular. I always said John Beilein in college basketball parlance back in the day was the best talent evaluator in the country. Cignetti is the best talent evaluator in football. He saw Curtis Rourke, the quarterback from Ohio, be the MVP of the MAC, looked at how he would fit in, and Curtis Rourke came in and led him to a college football playoff. He saw the uber talent of this kid Mendoza, whose brother was already at Indiana, and said, you know what? Perfect fit. And unlike what every idiot nationally is going to tell you, Indiana's got the resources to pay people and bring them in. They do, they will, they have. And it ain't going to slow down anytime soon. In fact, it's only getting revved up. Now, the Colts. Speaking of the Colts, I don't know. They went 5-1, Gary. Yeah, Gary, you told me after 5 games I was going to be, tired of Danny Dimes. Dollar Danny. The only people that are tired of Danny Dimes are the morons that aren't putting him high enough in the MVP voting. Those are the only people. Only people. But there was weirdness yesterday. There was much weirdness. And that weirdness occurred before the game. The Colts had 2 players, Anthony Richardson and Charvarius Ward. Charvarius Ward, man, he's an important guy, their best cover corner. They were knocked out in warm-ups. Let me say it again. In warm-ups. Warm-ups. That's where they were knocked out. Anthony Richardson fractured his orbital bone when he had an issue with a rubber leg band. It must have snapped back and hit him right in the eye. Charvarius Ward collided with Drew Ogletree in warm-ups and got a concussion. No, he got a concussion. Now, I'm saying to you, all right, how does this happen? The band I did to myself, if I showed you my big old leg and what happened there, you'd be like, that's the grossest thing I've ever seen. How'd you do it? And I would say, a band. All right, so I get that. But you got a guy and a guy colliding to the point where he gets a concussion. I don't know, man. Danny Dimes went for 212. I don't know. 22 of 30. I don't know. 2 touchdowns a pick. I don't know. Jonathan Taylor went for 123. Look, I get it. Everybody can say Danny Dimes is not the MVP or not, but he should be. I mean, he's taken a horse bleep franchise that has been stuck in mediocrity, and next thing you know, they're not 1-1 or 2, and they're 5-1 with another home game. I don't know where they play this week. I have to look it up. But damn, maybe they go to the Chargers. I think they go to the Chargers. Good test. But I don't know about you, but that's MVP worthy. Certainly not tired of him. Certainly not tired of Jonathan Taylor. Damn! Another 123. He should be the MVP too. One of the two. Hey, sad news out of the world of college basketball and the world of life. R.I.P. to the legend, Sister Jean. The world came to know Sister Jean during the 18 NCAA playoffs. The Loyola of Chicago Ramblers captured the hearts with an unforgettable run under our friend Porter Mosier. She was the team's chaplain. She became a national sensation for her faith, her energy, her grace, and her scouting reports, and her genuine love for the players. A friend of mine, Kent Sterling's son, was a walk-on at Loyola, about the mid-10s, 12, something like that. Love Sister Jean. That love was real. No, real. That wasn't one of those made-for-TV moments. That wasn't that, not even a little bit. You know, Sister Jean was a real presence for the basketball program. And, in fact, Sister Jean was more than that. She was a presence for the students of Loyola. Here's the announcement. Loyola University of Chicago is greatly saddened to confirm the death of Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt, BVM. It's a tremendous loss of someone who touched the lives of so many people. We appreciate everyone's thoughts and prayers during this difficult time. Details to follow. Here was an interview. She said, I love life so much and enjoy being with young people. They're the ones who keep me going because they're such a joy in my life and they keep you updated on what's happening in their world. Sister Jean was born August 21st, 1919 in the San Francisco area. She made her way to Chicago in 1961 when she took a job at Mundelein College. The school merged with Loyola Chicago in 1991. She stayed on to mentor countless students across campus. It was 1994 when life presented her with a new chapter, becoming the team chaplain for the basketball program. During that time, she made sure to stay involved in players' lives, also becoming a part of the team to an even bigger capacity, putting together scouting reports on opposing squads. Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. Nah, that's pretty awesome. Hey, time to hang him up. What do you think, Tiger? Tiger Woods, once again, he underwent major lumbar disc replacement surgery. He's got a collapsed disc and a compromised spinal cord. It's the latest setback and what has been a series of setbacks, devastating injuries, subsequent procedures. It's been a mess. And when Ryan Burr is on our show, he tells us, man, if you saw Tiger Woods' leg after that crash years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, it's mangled beyond comprehension. He finished 9th in the 2020 Farmers. His best finish in the subsequent 18 official events has been tied for 37th in the 2020 PGA. He competed just 5 events, the Genesis Invitational, the 4 majors. He withdrew from the Genesis, dead last in the Masters, missed a cut in the other 3. Look, if I'm Tiger Woods, I think he's already retired. I do. You know, it's unfortunate. Who knows why? Everybody has our speculation. Look, the guy probably should be done. I don't want to ever see Tiger Woods be a ceremonial golfer. I don't. I really don't. He'll be eventually the guy that hits the first tee shot on number 1 on Thursday morning at Augusta. That's fine. That's good. But having said that, I don't know how you come back from all of this. If anybody could, it's him. I mean, nobody works harder than him. That's the saying. But I don't see how you possibly can. Yeah, I don't know if his legacy will ever be tarnished. But the one thing about Tiger Woods that, man, oh man, I don't even think Bill Belichick has, the respect. The respect of players, the respect of the golf world, I don't know that anybody in golf has it more. I don't know that anybody in athletics has it more. I'm not talking about respect for his personal life. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the competitive respect from his peers. I don't think there's anybody in sport that has it like Tiger Woods had it. Michael Jordan would be the only other one. Those two. That's it. All right, Trey Wallace, we got to talk some football. We got to get his opinion on what's going to go down at Penn State. Be right back with Trey. Hey, welcome back. Trey Wallace, perfect guy to have today. All right. Penn State fires Franklin. What do you think happened in terms of that? What do you think happened to get him fired at this time? I know 3 losses. Is that it?
No, this has been building up for a minute now. His relationship with the administration at Penn State. I think what you have seen last year when they didn't make the national championship, and folks got to remember, like, he played in the semifinal last year. It's not like he got beat, right, in the first round or anything like that. I think this has kind of been building behind the scenes. There wasn't that great a relationship between Patrick Kraft, the AD, and James Franklin. And the loss to Oregon at home, that wasn't going to do it, but it did have folks start thinking, and they started listening to the outside noise more than I think athletic department officials should. Then you go on the road, you lose to UCLA. Okay, that's bad. Saturday was supposed to be a get-right game, Dan. You know how those games are. You get the program going again. Okay, Northwestern's coming to town. That's a no shot at Northwestern and what they're doing. But, man, you lose that game in the fashion that they did lose offensively, and they already had, in my opinion, they had the layout of the buyout done in talking with folks before that Northwestern game for whenever if anything happened, they were ready to pull the trigger. Well, I was told Saturday night, late into early Sunday morning, they were handling the buyout, getting with the lawyers and whatnot till about 4:30 a.m. Then they decided to let Franklin know earlier that morning that they were thinking about it. His agent, by the way, Jimmy Sexton, was handling conversations with the athletic director. And then all of a sudden, about, if I got my timing right here, at about 12:56 Central Time, they sent out an email, to former Penn State players, letting them know, and then the news dropped at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, Central Time, that he was out. So this was not something you just do on the fly, Dan. You know how this works, and for them to make this decision, it goes to show you how much they wanted that change, because right now you can fire a head coach at just about any time, but it's not as if you're going to go out and hire your new coach within the next 2 to 3 weeks. You've got 2 months here, unless they're going, a different route and somebody that's not involved in the game at the moment, Dan.
All right, let's talk about, you're not hiring Joey Bag of Donuts, maybe, I don't know, but if you're Pat Kraft, you want a sitting, successful, splash type coach. So we were talking off air, Dabo Swinney. I mean, let me go this route with you, Trey. Of the guys that are in their job now, and Matt Campbell, Dabo, who could you see legitimately coming to Penn State, leaving a very good Power 5 job?
The thing about Matt Campbell, and you just brought it up, Matt Campbell's name has been thrown out a lot over the last 5 years.
Always.
The problem is he just dropped his second consecutive game, this time losing to Colorado. and that comes off a loss to Cincinnati. Now, I say that to say this. You get somebody that's a very good head coach and you put him in a situation like Penn State, things can change, results on the field can change, NIL's taken care of, recruiting, whatnot, that goes. He's a good head coach. They're just on a little tilt at Iowa State. I think at the same time, you don't make the move yesterday if you already don't have 4 big names lined up. And don't forget, the craziest part about everything in college athletics is the guy that negotiated the buyout for James Franklin is most likely going to be the one that helps hire the next coach at Penn State. That would be Jimmy Sexton, mega agent. I think right now we're in a spot. You brought up Dabo's name. Would Dabo Swinney be interested in hopping from the ACC, where he knows that part of the country, and getting into something like Penn State? I'm not going to put it past Dabo for something like that to happen. But I think that when you look at it right now, Matt Rule at Nebraska, I think he has shown potential at Nebraska that he can get some stuff done. I think at the same time, being a former Penn State linebacker, I think his relationship with Patrick Kraft is probably going to help in that discussion, but it's all about if he actually wants to make a move as well. You're jumping into a different animal when you go to Happy Valley. And it's not always that you can go in there and you can win and you can compete for national championships every year, which, by the way, James Franklin was doing. He just couldn't win the big game. This is going to be fascinating because of how long this could actually play out, Dan. do you go after somebody like Dabo? Do you sit there and you say, okay, look, we're going to pay $13 million for a head coach. We're going to make somebody turn us down, because you can't jump from James Franklin to, let's just, I don't know, a Mark Stoops at Kentucky. You know what I mean? You can't make the mediocre hire. You got to swing for the fence here. And there are going to be enough people that want that job. And I know Kirk Cignetti's name is being thrown out there a little bit. Let me tell everybody something a little bit. Okay. There's a lot of names that are going to be thrown out over the next month or two, and you can probably only say about half of them, maybe even a quarter of them, are actual candidates for a position. I don't see why in God's name Kirk Cignetti would leave Indiana for Penn State if he's got a playoff shot. And another thing, too, like, Dan, you can make the CFP and compete for a national championship at these other schools and not have to deal with the crazy headaches that come with taking a job like Penn State, a.k.a. what Kirk Cignetti is doing this season. And I could say that for a number of coaches. So this one is going to be fascinating because of the timing and the money that is going to be offered to the new head coach.
I would go after Lane Kiffin, Brian Kelly, Dabo Swinney, and Mike Elko. Those are guys that I would go after. I would do it right now and turn me down. I mean,
I think Lane, if he's going to move, has his eye on another job that could potentially be coming open in the next couple of weeks, Florida. I think at the same time, Mike Elko, he's got things rolling in College Station. Do you just want to dip out? You want to dip out and go coach Penn State? Like, okay, you got a really good situation going on right now with the Aggies. So what I'm getting at here, this is going to be, I'm predicting this right now after talking to a few agents yesterday and a few athletic directors. This will be the craziest coaching cycle that we have seen in recent memory in college football. And I'm not talking about the Nick Saban stuff, because all that was a ripple effect.
Yeah. No, I brought those four guys up. I'm not saying they would leave, and probably Kelly probably would run there. But I don't think
they could.
That, Elko or – yeah, I mean, I would absolutely reach out. I'm looking at guys that have done a great job at places where they're not the top dog in that conference. I mean, maybe you could make the argument Dabo is. He's not now, but maybe you can make the argument that Kelly, LSU, they've won that. Everybody wins national. But right, I don't know. That's what I would have to do at Penn State. I'm not going to sit there and Matt Rule's got Nebraska in the top 25, which good, but let's see what happens. I would have to see more out of him if I were an AD. But those are the go ahead.
You make a good point, and somebody brought that name up to me yesterday about Brian Kelly. They did. LSU, you can tell where this thing is going without an offense right now, and would he want to just get out, reset his clock somewhere else, get back into that Big Ten fold per se? I know he's at Notre Dame, and you know what I'm talking about when I say that. 100%. That is a move that would not shock me. And what I'm trying to warn folks is you are going to be shocked at what happens over the next 2 months. I'm just trying to brace folks here. Again, it will be the craziest cycle we have seen. You're going to see big names leave certain schools for other schools. And Dan, Brian Kelly from LSU, that would not shock me.
That would not shock me even a little bit. A lot of people are saying this, and I'm curious your thought on this. Cignetti, all right, he comes right in. He's 17-2. I understand as a coach that every situation's different, right? But as an AD and as a booster, is Cignetti costing people their jobs, man? Has he sped this whole thing up for everybody in the country?
You've got folks looking around at Indiana, and they're like, wait a minute. Why can't we go that fast? Why can't we be in the CFP conversation? And what happened on Saturday when they went out to Oregon and they beat up on the Ducks? And they beat up on the Ducks, by the way. It made folks around the country say, wait a minute. If he can turn it around that quick at somewhere like Indiana, because all last season was, oh, man, Indiana's that outlier. We're not going to pay too much attention to them. And what they weren't realizing is last year, was just kind of that next step on the ladder. He was getting them ready for 2025 because it was going to be even bigger. And now all of a sudden you look at it, Indiana is a national championship contender. That football team can play with anybody in the country right now. I don't want to hear the Alabama, they can't beat Alabama or Ole Miss or anything. You just went on the road and you won at Oregon, okay? That is a massive accomplishment, and I think it goes to show you how much Curt Cignetti has done over these few seasons in Bloomington. And I think it's also a recipe for other schools. If you get the backing of an administration, you get your NIL fund straight, you get a coaching staff that knows what the hell they are doing, and they in a cohesive unit, and you bring in the right players, you can do just about anything. And I think what we have seen with Indiana so far is a school that has taken full advantage of a coach that knew exactly what he wanted to do when he took the job.
You know, it's funny. I was listening, and I like Sirius XM Channel 84. I used to host a show on there, but I was listening yesterday driving back from Georgia, and I don't know who the guys were. They weren't like Neuheisel or Show Pony or any of those guys, but they were so ill-informed about Indiana. They were talking about, well, Indiana doesn't have the resources. Hold on, we got two billionaires funding the program, Mark Cuban and Todd Wagner. I mean, whoa, wait a second here. The entire facility is on like its 10th upgrade to where they got like a Nebraska actually bigger and better than Nebraska's weight room. It's fascinating to me to hear people talk about that, Trey. Like, well, Penn State's got far better resources than Indiana. That's easy to say, but it's actually not true. To your point is well taken about what you can do, but you got to have all of these things lined up. Indiana does.
And by the way, they're only going to continue to invest in the football program and the athletic department around there. I mean, and this is gameplay. This is what happens when you start to win. And some people, I kind of relate this to how voters had Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech in the AP poll after they won a big game. You don't know how to look at Indiana right now. And by the way, it's okay to say that you don't know. If you're not paying attention to what's going on behind the scenes, if you're not paying attention to the money that they have and what they can do with NIL and their facilities around the campus, just admit it. But at the same time, you've got to understand that this is a Big Ten team, that it's not some blip on the radar. It's not like Illinois. When Indiana beat the hell out of Illinois, and then Illinois comes back and they're ranked in the top 25 and whatnot, and then they get the doors beat off of them by Ohio State this past weekend. It's like, hello, wake up. Like there are two different types of scenarios going on right now in the Big Ten. And I think what Curt Cignetti has been able to do, look, when he had that press conference and he told folks to Google him, what he does is win. That should have been a clear indication that this guy's coming in with a hefty perception of how he's going to get it done. But also at the same time, man, this has been such a fun story to follow, and they are not done yet by any stretch of the imagination.
8 teams in the top 25 lost, which is a little unfair because teams played each other. Okay, I get it. Teams are losing. Oklahoma loses. What do we make of Texas? What do we make of Arch? What do we make of Oklahoma? And this feels to me like the USC might be good, so hang on a second. But this feels to me like Notre Dame is going right through the uprights, big boy, with a win against USC.
Yeah, this is going to line back up to Notre Dame being in the playoff conversation. I think that it gives them this look. USC beating Michigan only helps Notre Dame heading into this weekend for what could happen down the road. I mean, it's as simple as that. You look, you look around the country, like you mentioned Texas and Arch Manning. I kind of predicted that one. I was like, look, everybody was calling Arch Manning. Not everybody. Let me phrase that the right way. Certain people last week were trying to phrase Arch Manning as some kind of flop. Okay, that's fine. You can't really say that 5 games into his college career. He comes out, he throws for about 160 yards. He handles the offense down the field. I thought he did a well job. The defense was good. So Texas is now back in the conversation, baby. Like, here they are. They're going to have to run the table, per se. But then you look at the Oklahoma side. I'm not a coach and I'm not a doctor, I feels like they rushed John Mateer back a little bit too quick. I think his 3 interceptions would kind of prove that. And right now, I look at Oklahoma. Damn, dude, if they play the way that they did against Texas, that's a 4-loss football team. So, and they got a gauntlet coming up. So there's going to be a lot of movement that goes on across this college football season. The craziness will continue next weekend. We've got Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee versus Alabama, LSU, Vanderbilt. You know, you got the Holy War going on, Notre Dame, USC. So what I'm getting at here is don't get too comfortable with how one weekend goes, because I promise you're going to get chaos the next weekend.
Hey, Trey, this is a great conversation. I appreciate you. Last thing, when you look across college football, all right, and Saban was talking about the SEC and how the North now, because you can pay, kids are going. All right, am I being way too cynical when I say, yeah, I read the book The Price by Armin Kantayan, and all these guys in the South were getting together and buying players, and now it's legal, and it's even the playing field. Saban's not going to say that, but am I being too cynical saying that?
No, man. I look, as somebody that grew up in the South, the stories that I have of boosters meeting players in a dark hotel parking lot or the local restaurant to drop off the bag, or all of a sudden you have $40,000 sitting on your doorstep. Look, and this is what happens. I told everybody back 4 or 5 years ago when NIL started, okay, the teams up north are going to figure this thing out. They're going to start paying these players a lot more. And let's not act like they weren't doing it to begin with. But at the same time, all it's done is leveled the playing field. And I think right now, Nick Saban, God love him, you know, it was around Alabama so long and LSU so long, and I understand he was at Michigan State, but save me with that. I think you're starting to see a rude awakening, Dan, when it comes to how this NIL stuff goes. And I think that you are not going to get you're not going to get a player to go to Alabama, LSU, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, you name it, just because you're offering a certain amount of money. Here's a little hint for you. Big Ten country has a crap load of money, and they're ready to spend it on football and basketball.
Yes, that's exactly right. The Big Ten network has made the Big Ten fat. That's the schools. But the amount of rich people here in our little state is unbelievable. And yes. I always said this about Indiana. If Indiana ever got really serious about football and somebody in there that they could believe, it would pour in the money. I always said this about hockey. Like, nobody pays attention to hockey. I went to Bowling Green. They won national champ. I said, wait a second. If Indiana decided that they wanted a great hockey program, it'd take about a year, and they would pass all these schools that are, you know what I mean? I mean, yes, that's it, Trey. That's the whole thing.
And you know what the other crazy part is? In the South, and this is not a knock, this is just reality, you don't have as many big money boosters in some of these SEC schools that you do in Big Ten country. Guys, Larry Ellison is funding the Michigan football team because his girlfriend is a Wolverines fan. Like, so what? Money's there, folks. It might not just come from the boosters and alumni and everything like that. Sometimes you just need a little loving to drop some millions of dollars on a football player. So what I'm getting at is that things have spread out, and I think that this is the new reality now in college athletics.
Yes, it has. And, you know, hell, the guy that owns the Miami Dolphins is funded Michigan, Stephen Ross. I mean, god dang, these dudes. You know, I get it. He better be funding Miami a little bit, but I get it. I mean, it's fun. I don't give a damn about any of it, though. Like, I don't know. People say, well, I don't want to watch a $4 million quarterback. I do. If he's playing at Indiana, hell yeah. I don't know what they paid Fernando Mendoza, and I don't give two craps about it. I want to watch Indiana throw a backyard fade for a touchdown to beat Oregon at Oregon. I don't give a crap about that.
No, and once people can move past the look, everybody's getting paid now. And I mean that in lower increments, higher increments, everything. Yes. Most college athletes are getting something right now, so get used to it. Everybody was bitching and complaining over the last few years that NIL is going to ruin the sport. I got news for you. The television ratings are proving you otherwise. That's it.
Boom. That's right. Appreciate it. Hey, your boy Trent Dilfer in Birmingham. That dude always appeared to me like he was always the smartest guy in the room. He gave me a headache.
Let me tell you something about Trent Dilfer. He shouldn't have been he shouldn't have been named the head coach at UAB to begin with. You've got some cronies down there in the administration at UAB. Somebody that grew up in that state and takes pride in UAB. What they did when they shut down the program years ago and then rehired Bill Clark to come back in. The board of trustees, they need a rude awakening on how life works. Dilfer should not have been that head coach to start with. They wanted to make a splash hire, and they go out and hire Dilfer from Lipscomb Academy in Nashville. I am glad my UAB Blazers have decided to move on from them, and let's get Bryant Vincent back in there, who led them to a 6-6 record during an interim year and got them to a bowl game. Then all of a sudden they wanted to bring in Trent Dilfer. I'll never understand it. It is what it is, but they should have seen that coming from about 100 yards away.
Get Gene Bartow back in those parts. Gene will figure it out. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Have a good day. Thanks.
Oh, man, that was really good with Trey. That was spectacular. We covered a lot of ground. I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's going to be fascinating to see who goes where. It is. It's absolutely going to be fascinating. All right. When I got so much to get to. This is such a big day in sports and the world, actually. I mean, hostages freed. What? So good. So good. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome to Don't At Me. What a fun show. We're going to have our guy Danny Z coming up at 20 after. He is a Penn State grad. We got to cover this story because, I don't know, man. There's something going on here that's fishy. I'm guessing we'll hear about it probably in the book that comes out in about 5 years. But it don't smell right. We're going to go stock up, stock down. And frankly, the stock up of the weekend is the state of Indiana. I'll never understand this. I just looked this up. Danny Dimes is still plus 4,000, behind like Lamar Jackson to be the MVP of the league. Are you guys nuts? Anyway, Indiana football, stock up, Curt Cignetti, and the men of Indiana football. They put the Mac down, put the yak down, made the smack down on the Oregon Ducks. You know what? Screw the Oregon Ducks. Although I do like Dan Lanning, but Curt Cignetti and his crew went out there and put belt to ass, as I said the other day. That's right. Belt to ass. They did it in their own yard. Hey, my man Mendoza threw an interception, came right back and answered with a little back shoulder beauty for the touchdown to put him in the lead, and then the defense took over. And that quarterback, who was ahead of Mendoza for the Heisman Trophy, he ain't ahead no mo. Hey, how about Rico Dowdle? Rico Dowdle talked smack. Cowboys cut him. He was pissed, not happy. So what did he do? Well, I never heard of this guy. But he's with the Carolina Panthers. He went for 239 yards, a touchdown. Guess what happened? Carolina beat Dallas. I remember when there were people telling me that Dak Prescott should be in the conversation for MVP. Au contraire. Au contraire, my chérie. Oh, hell no. Let me put it another way. Oh, hell no. No. Are people not going to wake up? Are people not paying attention? Am I paying too much attention? I don't know which way to go about this. But one thing I do know is if Dak Prescott is the MVP, I got a full head of hair. No, I'm just saying. I got a full damn head of hair. Because right now, Dak Prescott, my ass. And I love when guys talk smack. I love when guys say, you know what? You cut me. You cut me, and I ain't happy about it. And then, instead of bitching, whining, and moaning, which I just did, they went out and did something about it. They went out and got a ton of yards. They went out and got a bunch of wins. They went out and did what they should do, which is go get her done. And they did. I like that. And Mahomes, that offense looks good now. No, Travis Kelce made some catches. Hollywood Brown, pretty good. They did a lot of misdirection. I don't know if you watched that game last night, but if I were a head coach, I would sit my offensive coordinator down and say, I want some of this. Misdirection, guys going this way, cutting back, going that way. I mean, it was spectacular. It was freaking awesome. And they got it done against the Detroit Football Lions, who were supposed to be a smash yourself in the face. 4 touchdowns last night. Mahomes, he accounted for. He's a tough dude, man. But he ain't the MVP. Daniel Jones is the MVP. Stock down. Look, man, the Jets are terrible. I thought Aaron Glenn was ushering a new era. Imagine this guy as your quarterback. He's awful. Like, Justin Fields can't play. I'm shocked by this. I really am. I thought Justin Fields was all right. I don't know. Maybe they should go to the wishbone and make him a running quarterback. But the Jets have dropped to 0-6. 0-6. And they, frankly, look worse than 0-6. Now, I don't know. It looks to me like, you can't be worse than 0-6 if you've only played 6 games. But the truth of the matter is, they stinks. They do. They absolutely stinks. And they're fun to watch be bad because they're so bad. You know that whole car crash thing? You know what I mean? I mean, that whole, Yeah, that's what they are. I didn't see this. I need somebody to help me with this. I'm too busy focused on Indiana, not that cheating, thieving program that is Michigan. But James Franklin, stock down. Oh, no, wait a sec. Hey, Davey. Stock up, James Franklin. The best job in America is a fired college football coach. Tell me a better job. You know what Franklin should be doing right now? Franklin should be in a private plane with La Familia going wherever he likes to go. Maybe it's a golf course. Maybe it's a beach. Maybe it's back to East Stroudsburg. I don't know, and I don't care. That's where he should be. I mean, in the world that we actually live in, not the fantasy world of TV and sports and all that, Davey, Franklin, I can't give him a stock down. He getting $50 million not to work.
That's very
stock up.
Very fair, Dan. From his perspective, though, he's invested so much time in that school. He's a Pennsylvania guy, so it's got to suck for him to, be a couple of plays away from playing in a national championship last year to already being fired. Just 6 games into this season. And Dan, I was the guy you were just talking about when it came to Dak Prescott for MVP. That was me.
You were?
Yeah, that was me.
Oh.
Here's what I'll say on that. Dak Prescott, still incredible. No quarterback has done what he's done during this time period and had a 1-1 record, or basically not have a winning record during that time frame. And here's the other thing, Dan. Dak Prescott still has better odds to win the MVP than Daniel Jones currently does.
I know. So does Lamar Jackson. Like, what are we doing?
Well,
so does Lamar Jackson.
Lamar's missed
I get
2.5 games. They got to bye this week. If he gets them back into the playoffs, they're 1-5 right now. He'll be back after the bye week. I could easily see if he lights it up. But again, the Ravens and the Cowboys, 2 of the worst defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, well, I like my bet. All right, I didn't see this. Did any of you guys see this? Stock down, Sharon Moore talking smack about USC only to get his ass beat. What did that idiot say? What did that fool say?
I don't have the specifics, but it was around the conversation of, we're going to handle them. It's going to be an easygoing game for Michigan. And Lincoln Riley had his team prepared, and it was not much of a challenge when you really look at the box score.
Yeah, look, a lot of people are now mad at Sharon Moore. So now you're going to fire Sharon Moore? Is that what we're going to do? I looked it up, and I don't know. Now everybody, is all over Sharon Moore. You're not allowed to lose a game, apparently, in college football. In college football, you are not allowed to lose a game. You must win every game, and away we go. All right.
I'm being informed.
There you go.
He said the only reason the game was sold out at the Coliseum was because Michigan was coming to town.
Well, yeah. Of course. Look, with all due respect to Bowling Green and a big win they had over Toledo, stock up, down 21-0 or down 21 points. Bowling Green comes to USC. It ain't sold. I get it. It's L.A. It ain't Ann Arbor. Damn, there ain't a lot of big meathead dumbasses that go, the team. No, they got stuff to do in L.A. What are you talking about? Oh, stop. Sharon, of course. Of course that's the only – well, I don't know if it's the only reason. I mean, USC's a decent team, got them going a little bit, to your point. I think you just said it, Davey. I mean, Lincoln Riley had them ready to go. They looked good. They looked organized. Michigan, frankly, didn't look very good. They looked – I used the word pedestrian. They looked okay. They looked fine, but they didn't look like a power. They didn't look like what Michigan is supposed to look like, selling out apparently the Rose Bowl or wherever the hell they played. Screw that. Get out of here with that. You know what I mean? Get out of here with that. You're at Michigan. Act accordingly. All right, the Patriot Awards. Thank you, Davey. We're excited to announce the return of the most patriotic awards show on television. Fox Nation Patriot Awards is back and better than ever, hosted by our very own Sean Hannity. I want to go. It's November 6th, Thursday. I think I'm out of town. 8 p.m. Eastern. Live from the Tillis Center in NYC. Tickets are on sale. FoxNation.com/Patriot Awards. We had a record-setting show last year. This year's even better. Surprise guests, amazing new awards, even a special honor for the life and legacy of America's friend, Charlie Kirk. You don't want to miss it. Get your tickets now, FoxNation.com/Patriots Award. And we absolutely hope to see you there. Coming up in a minute, Danny Z is going to join us, but I love this. I love that there's starting to be a expression of faith, a public expression of faith. Ohio State football players last year went around campus baptizing people and being involved in people's baptisms. Now, this is pretty cool. Travis Hunter was baptized prior to Jacksonville's game on Sunday. Travis Hunter's pregame routine looked a little bit different on Sunday as the Jacksonville Jaguars rookie took an additional step en route to the stadium to get baptized ahead of the team's matchup against the Seahawks. With the kickoff set at 1 o'clock local, Hunter wasn't exactly left with an abundance of time to make it to a church service Sunday morning, let alone make a personal decision such as being baptized, but the former Heisman Trophy winner made it happen and looked absolutely thrilled by the fact. Here it is. He was seen being held by a church leader before being dunked underwater, smiling from ear to ear, and then praying after the traditional baptism. That is so good. That is really, really good. I go to a church called Traders Point. I'm kind of on a religious walkabout, Catholic all my life, and they do baptisms there. I've been baptized a long time ago. Probably should go again. That's good news. Hey, great news, incredible news since the last time we were on the air. President Trump helped negotiate a peace deal that came down, I guess, this morning between Israel and Hamas. This morning, Hamas released the final 20 living Israeli hostages who were held in Gaza since that horrific day, October 7, 2023. Here's Netanyahu, the prime minister, thanking President Trump for his unwavering support of Israel.
Thank you for recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Thank you for standing up to the lies against Israel in the United Nations. Thank you for recognizing in your 2020 peace plan our rights in Judea and Samaria, the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people. Thank you for brokering the historic Abraham Accords. Abraham, Eskhemei Avraham. Thank you for withdrawing from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal.
There you go. That's pretty good. Netanyahu calls President Trump the greatest friend of Israel ever in the White House, says no U.S. president has done more for Israel than Trump, not even close. Here's more on Netanyahu's discussion of the President Donald Trump.
No American president has ever done more for Israel. And as I said in Washington, it ain't even close. It's really not a match. Mr. President, today we welcome you here to thank you for your pivotal leadership in putting forward a proposal that got the backing of almost the entire world. A proposal that brings all our hostages home.
Man, you imagine 2 years, brutal captivity. There's a couple, well, they're all great stories, but there's twin brothers being reunited, people. You know, it's the saddest day ever, October 7th, 2023. It's just ridiculous that people would actually support that, and people do. You know, I mean, I've said this before, I'll say this again, and I will not stop saying this, and I'll take whatever comes my way. Donald Trump is by far the best president of my lifetime. Now, I get it. Hey, you're not allowed to criticize President Obama. You know, when we did our show with Bruce Pearl, he criticized President Obama, and per tradition of X and everywhere else, we're both racist, blah, 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 blah. You're not allowed to criticize most groups, no matter what statistics are. But Donald Trump does not care. Donald Trump is going where and doing what he needs to get done to make our country better. The people in Memphis are very happy about it. The people in Chicago are being absolute dumbasses. The mayor there, Brandon Smith, and his 6%, which is unbelievable to me that he even has 6% support. No, it's fascinating. But anyway, Donald Trump is by far the best president of my lifetime. And it is amazing to me that guys like Obama couldn't even say Trump's name. I don't think Obama and others have even praised Donald Trump. Donald Trump came out, here, the mother of Matan Zankur, who was held hostage by Hamas for 738 days, reunites with his son. It's beautiful to see. It is. It's beautiful to see. Is Danny Z on now? Are we ready to go? I'm not getting texts. Is Danny Z here? All right, we'll be right back. You guys know him and love him on Fridays, but we had to get him on today. He's a Penn State grad. So if Penn State now hires Brian Kelly, you cool with that?
Oh, I didn't know we were coming right out of the gates with that. Brian Kelly, I don't know.
Big boy.
I mean, it'd be easy for them to hire Brian Kelly because he won't have to adopt a fake accent because it's Pennsylvania, middle of the state. You don't really need an accent. Would he drop the Southern accent that he's adopted though? Because you're gonna have to drop that.
I don't know.
He's gonna have to drop that
know.
if he wants to come coach in the middle of Pennsylvania.
Is this a long national nightmare over for you Penn State wonks?
Yeah, I've been calling for Franklin to be not the coach of Penn State for years. Look, I'll tell a quick story. I had a chance to meet James Franklin shortly after he was hired when I worked at ESPN. You know, the college coaches always come to ESPN to do the car wash, as they call it. They go on every show, and they did a little meet and greet for all the Penn State grads because there's a bunch of Penn State grads working at ESPN pretty much at all times. They did a little meet and greet, met James Franklin, shook his hand, introduced myself. And then like 10 minutes later, this is going to sound weird, but about 10 minutes later, he called me Dan. Now, most people would like that. Like, wow, he remembered my name. I didn't like it. I was like, why are you remembering my name? Like, don't you have more important things to do? I'm a nobody. It felt like a trick that he did. Like, he found a way to make people feel special, but it almost felt like a carnival trick to me. Like, everything about him, when I shook his hand, it felt fake. It felt a little sleazy. It gave off used car salesman vibes. Like, I really didn't like it. I'm going to be honest with you. I know a lot of people are probably like, what the hell is this guy talking about? It just was the vibe he gave off. I never liked it. I felt like he was trying to sell me a bill of goods. I can see how it worked in recruiting. I'm sure he made a bunch of 18-year-old kids feel very special and like they were the best in the world and got them to come to Penn State. Problem was he forgot to tell them, you're not going to develop as a football player.
The dude won a little bit. I mean, damn, 13-3 last year, 8-1 in the Big Ten. I mean, I get it. You guys are tough. I think you overestimate yourselves. I do. I think that once,
I knew that was coming.
There. No, well, it's like, I was there with Joe Pa, Coach Knight, myself, and Joe Paterno were in the locker room before a game. And he's like, I'll tell you right now, we're not winning a national championship ever at Penn State. Now, they did win one. He goes, this is the wrong conference. Now the whole thing has changed. But you know what? I don't know. Who are you going to get that's going to win more? Tell me who's going to win more.
Anyone, honestly. Anyone?
Really? They didn't before Franklin.
Well, you have to keep in mind, Dan, like after Joe Pa, the reason Joe Pa was ousted was because of Jerry Sandusky. And then the NCAA brought down the hammer on Penn State and they pretty much got the death penalty. They had no scholarships. So, of course, they haven't won a ton since losing Joe Pa, but that has more to do with the fact that it didn't matter who the coach was. They had nothing. Bill O'Brien did a pretty good job going 7-6, even though he was working with about half the scholarships he was allowed to have. He took a bunch of walk-ons. O'Brien, I thought, actually did a really nice job. And look, I'll give credit where credit is due. Franklin took over a program that was not in good shape, and that's what he does. He builds up crappy teams and makes them good. That's what he did at Vandy. It's what he did at Penn State. The problem is the expectations at Penn State aren't to be good and to kind of compete. The expectations are compete and win Big Ten titles. With the expanded playoff, Penn State should be in the playoff conversation every single season. I mean, you're sitting there saying like, oh, your expectations are too high. You get 12 teams in the playoff. There's no reason Penn State shouldn't, at the very least, be in consideration to make the playoff every season.
They were. They just got to the national semifinal.
Yeah, because they beat Boise State and SMU. They had a nice draw. Look, everything lined up well for Franklin. It's what he does. He wins games he's supposed to win. They were 10.5-point favorites against Boise State. They were 14-point favorites against SMU. That's what no one's arguing that James Franklin wins games he's supposed to win until he doesn't, which is what happened this year when he lost as a back-to-back 20-point favorite. First coach to do that in 30 years. I mean, look. It's always been Franklin. He can't win the big game because he gets out coached. He's not a great football coach. He's a good recruiter. He's brought a lot of talent to Penn State. I'm not denying that. Penn State has talent. They have money. They got NIL money. They got talent. He does a good job. He cannot coach football. They've had 10 different coordinators in his 12 years, 6 offensive coordinators, 4 defensive coordinators. It hasn't mattered. It's not at a certain point you have to look at the guy in charge and say he is not capable of coming up with a strategy. He doesn't develop quarterbacks. Drew Aller never really got any better, even though he's a highly ranked recruit. He's a guy who people thought could be a first-round pick. He didn't develop at all. He didn't get any better, and that's been a theme throughout Franklin's career.
I don't know, man. 8-1, 13-3, national semifinal last year. I mean, all right. Who are we going to get? You got to get somebody that's better, don't you? I mean, don't tell me Matt Rule. We going with?
I don't want Matt Rule.
Is that the guy?
No,
who you want?
I hope not.
Who you want?
Oh, you know who we want, Dan. We're going to come in there, take your guy. We're coming in there and we're taking Signetti.
Yeah, okay.
You know, there's a guy working for ESPN. Hey. There's a guy working for ESPN that would be a great fit.
Who's that?
His name is Nick Saban.
Yeah. I said earlier, Nick Saban, when the chips are down, Nick Saban always says he's a West Virginia guy. Now, I think he and Ole Miss Terry, I think they're Southern, folk. But he does like to remind you that he's a hard scrabble guy from West Virginia, which might as well be Pennsylvania. It's the same place.
Pretty close.
So, all right, I'll give it to you, right? Nick Saban. Let me ask you a question. If you were going to rank legitimate candidates for that job, would Dabo Swinney be one?
That's a really interesting question. I haven't really thought about it because I honestly would think, why would Dabo go to Penn State? I mean, look, if he's interested, I think Penn State has to be interested. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where Larry Brown taught all coaches get out one step ahead of the posse. Like, don't stay too long because, I'm the poster child for it. Should have left and gone to West Virginia. But the truth of the matter is he would be an interesting guy for me coming into the Big Ten. Like, different recruiting, different thing, kind of Southern, that kind of stuff. When you do you believe in the AD, Pat Kraft?
No, nothing Penn State does at the leadership level has made me believe in anything they can do over any length of time. Absolutely not. No.
Why?
The only reason their hockey team is any good is the only reason the hockey team got good because people give the AD credit for no. Pagula came in and gave them like $400 million. That's why the hockey team is good. Right. They just came in and injected a ton of cash. That'll work. That'll save an AD's job if some giant mega donor wants to come in and donate an entire hockey arena, state-of-the-art hockey arena. Of course, all these kids want to come play at Penn State in that behemoth of a university hockey arena. Come on.
I'm with you. Like I said this, I was at Bowling Green, 3 guys on the Miracle and Ice team, a lot of history, national champs. I said, wait a second. If Indiana decided to have hockey, they would be better than Bowling Green in about 2 years. They'd build a new arena. They'd pay everybody. I mean, I don't even, All right, so who would you like to see as the head coach of Penn State University? The Penn State University, whatever the hell y'all say.
Look, I was only half joking. The answer is Nick Saban. You got to put in the call and see if he's interested. I mean, why not?
I know you do.
It's a good land. I think it's a perfectly reasonable landing spot for Saban. He doesn't have to build the program from nothing. Penn State has talent. And certainly no one, people are talking like, oh, guys are already thinking about flipping their commitments. And if Nick Saban comes into town, they're not losing anybody. Everyone's staying around to play for Nick Saban. I'm positive your viewers are like, this guy is out of his mind. He thinks Penn State is way higher in the college football hierarchy than they are. But Alabama was kind of down a little bit when Saban got in there, and then now we just look at it and go like, oh, Alabama, they've always been great. Like, no, like every program, they've had their ups and downs. They weren't exactly at the top of the world when he got there. So I don't know. I think that would actually be a great job for Saban, and he could prove a few things by winning in the middle of Pennsylvania and winning in the Big Ten. I think it'd be great for his legacy.
I think it's too. I think they absolutely have to call Signetti. They absolutely have to call Saban. I'd call Urban Meyer. I'd call Gruden. I don't know. Maybe not Gruden. I don't know. But who would be the guy? Like, that's all. You got to. There's a difference between making the call, which you got to. I'm sure Pat Kraft has already done that. If he hasn't, he's a fool. I mean, he should already have 3 guys lined up that will take the job. I believe that's how you do business at major college athletics. But let's take out the retired ESPN guy, whatever. Who in the current college football landscape would be a good fit for Penn State? That's coaching now at any coach.
Signetti. It's Signetti. Yes, right. 100%. 100%. Yeah. I don't know why you keep going. You keep trying to get me to say someone else because you don't want us to come in there and steal your guy. But that's the correct answer. That's the correct answer from a realistic standpoint.
Yeah, I don't care whether they come in and steal the guy or not. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, he goes, he goes. I mean, he stays, he stays. He's got a nice gig.
I'll tell you this, because you had said, you don't fire Franklin unless you have, like, if they hire Matt Rule, it means everyone else said no. Because I think that is the guy they know at the end of the day they can get and that it will take the job. But they're going to go kick the tires on better options before they commit to that because there's no rush to hire Matt Rule, right? Like, nobody else is beating down his door. Right. So if they hire Matt Rule, that is going to be a terrible sign for Penn State. It means they tried to get someone better and they couldn't. They went with the guy they knew they could always get. And that's why I don't want Matt Rule, because I think it's a bigger, broader signal that they failed to go out and get somebody better.
Well, I think that Matt Rule is kind of the there's 2 things that are easy in this. And I heard him yesterday. Matt Rule, because of his relationship with Kraft back at Temple. Okay, that's easy. And Penn State has far more resources than Indiana. Those are going to be the easiest things that, frankly, aren't true. I mean, if I'm Pat Kraft, I don't give a damn if I coach with Matt Rule. I would know him. I wouldn't have to interview him. But I wouldn't give a damn. I'm going to get the Penn State guy, the guy for Penn State at this time. And I don't know. I'd go. You got to call Saban. You got to do all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? You got to do that.
I forgot about Urban. Man, that would be funny. That would be really funny if Urban came to Penn State.
Penn State, man. He loves it. He does. He likes Penn State a lot.
Look, at this point, man. If you're not in college football, college sports, like if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Like I'm good. Bring him in. I don't care. I don't care about the baggage anymore, Dan. I just want to freaking win. That's it. We got James Franklin. No scandals. I mean, look, because people are saying that, right? Like Franklin was there 12 years, not one scandal, no NCAA violation. I'm like, screw that. He wasn't cheating. He wasn't trying. Get him out of here. We want to win games. You want to vacate that 2027 national championship in 2030? Go ahead. You can't take it away from me. You can't take it away.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't do it, damn it. And I don't want to hear about games forfeited, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear about
You think Michigan's sitting around like, we didn't win the national championship? No, they're absolutely not saying that. They won that national championship.
Right.
You can vacate. Did Reggie Bush win the Heisman Trophy? Reggie Bush won the Heisman Trophy. Get out of here with this vacated nonsense. I'll take it. I'll take the win. I don't care if Urban leaves in disgrace 2 years after winning it all. It's fine. He did his job.
That's how I used to be very sanctimonious. I used to be, you got to win the right way. Not no more. I don't give two shits. Let's go.
I don't
Get
care.
it figured
They're all
out.
doing
Let's
it.
win, and I ain't mad at it. I know. Appreciate you coming on. Am I going to see you Friday?
I think that's up to you guys, but I'll be here.
I would hope so. All right. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Penn State football. I don't know. Maybe if Kurt Signetti goes, God bless him. He goes. He goes. But I ain't mad at it. I think we need to have a bad tweets thing. All right. Woke-a-dope. Let's do it. Department of War? Department of Woke. Yeah. Man, I'm so glad we don't have naked trannies in the White House lawn or cocaine on the White House lawn or some president that can't even think or some cackling moron. No, I'm so happy. So happy. Hey, by the way, update. 6 people shot this weekend. 3 stabbed in Indy. Couple dead. Next. That's what happens, man. Say it! Say it! Say it! I saw him in concert, Sam Kinison. He was so damn funny. No one is above the law, Letitia. Letitia. Man, oh man. Next. Letitia, is that her name? I don't know. The Minister of Misinformation. Just that smug, cheating, lying thief. And see, Danny Z just talked about something with James Franklin, feeling disingenuous. I would imagine if you hung out with Joe Biden, you'd feel the need like, I got to go home and cleanse my, I don't know, take a shower. I don't know. This is gross. I got to believe that's how you would feel if you dealt with that guy. I do. I got to believe that's exactly how you would feel if you hung with him. Last thing. Yeah, I got to tell you, Donald Trump is the greatest president of my lifetime. I mean, the dude, there was his schedule that Clay put out the other day, literally doesn't sleep. He just simply works for our country. So here again, hostages are released. Here's what's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see whether anybody on the left gives Trump any credit. We've seen Pocahontas, a.k.a. Elizabeth Warren, talk about what a great day it is. But, of course, not mention Donald Trump. We've seen America's do-nothing president, the man that nobody can ever criticize, Barack Obama, mention all kind of things going on, wars stop, but no mention of Trump. It's the saddest thing. These people hate the United States. They hate our successes. The only thing that these folks want is to remain in power and get their money. I mean, they've gotten so damn rich off of being in politics. Obama always said, well, I'm a city planner, never had a real job, and now he's got mansions all over the world. What? Pocahontas, whatever the hell her name is, AOC, Pelosi, all these folks are so damn rich. They don't care about the successes. They don't care about strength through power that the United States puts on people with Donald Trump. What they care about is simple. They simply care about, I want my power. I want my money. Whatever we're doing to funnel money to us, let's do it. Because on $275,000 a year, you ain't living like Joe Biden's living. You ain't living like Pelosi's living. You're not living how Obama is living. You're just not. And it doesn't take a freaking genius to see this. And that's all they want. And you can tell by the reaction to what is going on with Donald Trump. You know, I'm old enough to remember when Hillary Clinton said that Donald Trump would start World War III because of his personality. He solved 8 wars in 8 months. He's brought hostages home. Will you see Hillary Clinton or any of these oligarchs, I guess is what they are, say a damn thing about it? Of course you won't. Of course you won't. Why? Because it kills them that somebody is actually doing the work that the United States people, the people of the United States, including me, hired him to do. He's not stealing. He's not thieving. He's simply doing the work we hired him to do. Make America strong. Make America great again. Resolve conflicts. Keep us out of wars. And let's get going. And he's done it within 8 months. 9 months. And it makes these people crazy. Now it's unbelievable. I get it. It's like the coach that gets fired. He doesn't want to see the new coach do great things. Fine. Particularly if you're a shallow imbecile. But damn. And it doesn't even matter what these folks do. It doesn't even matter a little bit because they still have their whole cards. You're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a Nazi, you're a fascist, blah, all of the damn words. And it's all bullshit. You keep going, Donald Trump. Great work, per usual. See you tomorrow.